30 years since AIDS first hit the gay community, cutting-edge drugs mean HIV no longer has to be a death sentence. But in America's socially conservative South, the disease is exacting a staggering toll on the black community. Even as US President Barack Obama endorses gay marriage, homophobia, stigma and denial in the South are exacerbating a striking health disparity in one of the richest countries on earth. North America correspondent Jane Cowan reports from Jackson, Mississippi.
You can reach me by sailboat, and a train swing road to road. Take a sled and slide down slow into these arms of mine.
It's Saturday night in Jackson, Mississippi. The hair is piled high, the makeup resplendent, and the show in full swing. In America's deep south, it takes courage just for these men to be here in this openly gay club. For some, it's even more complicated.
Initially, it was horrible. It was the very thing that I tried so hard not to acquire, and I acquired it. It took me 3 months to get out of my stupor.
Diagnosed a year ago, HIV was the last thing doctors thought to look for when 22-year-old Charlie Lewis got sick.
They thought it was my liver at one point. They really thought that I could possibly have colon cancer. And then they ran one last test, and it came back that I had HIV antibodies in my system. Kind of devastating.
It's hard to imagine a tougher place to come out or to seek help for HIV. This is the buckle of the Bible Belt, dubbed the most religious place in America.
People have not been compassionate and even said things which are horrific in our opinion, that it's God's judgment on them, they chose evil, and thus this is God's punishment for them.
Mississippi is a deeply conservative place. It was the last state to end prohibition, one of the last to end segregation, and only repealed its ban on interracial marriage in the late 80s. Now, beneath the genteel southern veneer, a public health crisis is raging. Attention might be focused on the HIV epidemic in places like Africa, but this is the epicentre of America's struggle with the disease. Here in the South, more people live with HIV and die from AIDS than anywhere else in the country. The South has the highest rates of new infections, and here in Mississippi, the death rate is 60% higher than the national average.
We are sort of a third world country in a way. We have people who are in young age, people who are childbearing. We're losing a generation of people to this illness.
Here, HIV is no longer a gay white man's disease. The face of HIV in the South is African American. Mississippi is the poorest state in the Union, and the poverty's worse in black neighbourhoods. So is the homophobia and the stigma surrounding HIV.
The down low is a real thing. Men have sex with men and have sex with women, so people won't think that they're having sex with men. And that is what is propagating the illness.
The shame forces people into the shadows, too afraid to seek help. Half of those testing positive for HIV aren't receiving proper treatment, a rate comparable to Botswana, Ethiopia and Rwanda.
They don't get tested unless they have pneumonia. Or, unfortunately, they get tested when they're in the ER. And then they're already AIDS defined.
Mississippi and HIV is something that they would rather not discuss. So it sort of kind of becomes the quiet truth or the unspoken truth. It's there, we know it's there, but we'd rather not discuss it, which is also almost like homosexuality. We have gays, but we'd rather not discuss them or, even talk about that topic.
When it comes to prevention, sexual health policy is stuck in the past.
I said there are kids in your school districts, in your schools, that may be living with HIV.
Abstinence has been the official curriculum in schools.
We have 9-year-olds that are giving birth. They're having hysterectomies at 13 and 14 years old because they're having chlamydia going unnoticed.
In an industrial estate beside a Mississippi highway, Valencia Robinson is running her own underground operation, breaking with her abstinence training to give kids the facts they can't get elsewhere.
You should hear some of the things these kids say nowadays. Like, I can't get an STD if I have oral sex. I can't get an STD if I have anal sex.
How common is it for your friends to be having sex yet?
It's very common, like most, if not all. I'm not going to say all because most. There's some people who just be abstinent at my school. But I mean, there's a lot of pregnant girls in my school too. So
Mississippi is #1 with teen birth. We're #1 with gonorrhea. Come on. It's happening. Kids are having sex. They're engaging. They're doing it. And we need to stop acting like this is not happening, putting our head in the sand.
Schools have just been given the option to teach Abstinence Plus, which means they can at least talk about condoms. Change can't come fast enough for Charlie Lewis.
It's home, so I love Mississippi in retrospect, but I do feel that as most gay men living in Mississippi, we want to leave Mississippi because of the not so comfortable ways or not so comfortable society that sort of kind of rejects homosexuality. I have to live somewhere where I can be me comfortably.
Trying to live and let live. Jane Cowan, Lateline.